Hello everyone, today in this video we'll fight against the atmosphere character of our world around us, and today we will just discuss what recently happened in Polish politics, because it's not only specific currently to Poland but also other so-called democratic countries. I mean, our not so wise current Prime Minister recall the term militant democracy that was coined in 1930s by German constitutional lawyer, emigrant from National Socialist Germany to United States, Mr. Karl Löwenstein, who was a lawyer, as I mentioned, and he was of mixed German-Jewish origin, and he was really sad when National Socialists came to power. And the fact that made him additionally sad was the true that they did it in a democratic way, winning the democratic elections. And Mr. Levenstein was typical frustrated lawyer with really, I would say, complicated way of thinking and really not so straightforward logic, which is typical to many lawyers. And he just concluded that something like militant democracy, he also coined the second term armored democracy, but militant democracy or armored democracy, when we read his definitions, they are actually one and the same thing. So that's why people who analyze the problem, they selected to use in majority militant democracy term he coined. Militant democracy, according to this frustrated lawyer from Germany, Mr. Karl Levenstein, is nothing more than democracy that doesn't allow people to choose some parties, especially the parties which which the people who are behind this democratic regime consider as a threat for democracy. Does it remind us something? Yes, it reminds us typical totalitarian approach. That is why militant democracy, if implemented in real life, is nothing more than democratic dictature. I would call it democrature. That is why this is another example how we shouldn't give our life and regulations that are supposed to organize our life only to lawyers, because lawyers will make things nicely looking on paper, everything in agreement with current law regulations, but not possible to be implemented, or if implemented, then we live in hell, totalitarian hell. Another example of this, what lawyers did after Second World War, is that they complicated and really manipulated the law of the declaration of war, or I would say even the regulations how the state should defend when another state invaded it. It means the one who declares the war, even if this site is the site which was invaded, it means it's guilty for everything, because the one who declares the war, this is the law after 1945, is guilty for everything because this side declared the war. So that is why, like for instance Russia, Ukraine, no one declares the war, and this armed conflict, that's why we use the term armed conflict, is undeclared because no one wants to be guilty. And Russian called the intensification of the conflict that lasts from 2014, intensification from the February 2024 2022, sorry, Russians called special operation, military special operation. And now let's look. Since Second World War, if we look from the legislative law point of view, there are no wars. Lawyers eliminated wars on paper because they are being waged everywhere since 1945, even currently, but they are not declared and they are not called wars. This is another example that lawyers shouldn't be the only ones arranging our lives, because they are disconnected. Like Mr. Levenstein, who created the term of militant democracy, who is nothing more but the democracy democratic regime that limits the possibility of selection for the citizens of the country to its own interests. So this is typical democratic dictature, so democrature. And this is what we have in many countries in the Western world, because when leftist party win election, then it's fine. But when someone who opposes the main narrative and the main governments is about to win the election, now everyone says that we need to defend democracy. Sorry, it's normal hypocrisy and pathology, and this is heritage of this frustrated German lawyer Karl Liebenstein, who had really sophisticated and deviated logic behind all of his ideas. All the best, have a nice day, bye.